Next speaker is Bill Newport.
Mayor, Council, staff, this is regarding the tree debris. It's a problem that won't leave us. On February 27th, which you have the minutes of the special council meeting in front of you, and resolution 12037 stated that council will hold in abeyance enforcement of the land use bylaw relating to the operation of a horizontal tub grinder, etc., and no further stockpiling will occur after this date. But the ad in the undercurrent got changed. Well, it reads that all transport of processing of green waste debris from one lot to another within the municipality must cease. This wasn't the motion that council passed, but this is what ended up in the undercurrent. Now, what has happened today is there's pickup trucks running around Bowen Island full of tree debris that are dumping them in other locations on Bowen to be burnt on those individuals that have got a burning permit. There's stockpiling occurring all over the island, my own lot included, because I can't get rid of the stuff. The price to the customer, if you have to get rid of a stump or tree debris, has gone from about $600 on island solution to a 230% increase to $2,600 approximately to take this debris to town. Now I'm talking about the including the ferry and what have you. So now we got vehicles that are taking up the ferry space and get into your carbon footprint, the whole works, if you want to go that far. Now we have the problem where Ed, he's got a contract to clear some land, and he can't get his big truck up to the driveway of the land. He can get his little one there. So because of the ad in the newspaper, you can't transport tree debris from one location to another, so he can't load up his great big truck and have one trip to town at a substantially reduced cost to the customer. So it's bad. It's going to be a disaster on Bowen Island come summertime because we do not have any plan in place at this time for the tree debris. And I think it's in council can rectify the situation. But if the fire marshal was here right now, I'm sure he'd have strong words. And you got to do something. It wasn't your motion that was in the undercurrent. So help the contractors on the island. What are they going to do with the tree debris? And that's a horrible cost for people like myself to go from $600 to $2,600 to take the stuff to Vancouver when we have had a non-island solution and we can still have it. Thank you.
Next speaker is Aubin and Berckel.
Just to clarify, Bill, we'll all look into it and we'll get back to council about your issue.
Can I just ask a question? Is that like in a few days, a week? And I'm not.
Couple days.
Couple of days. Thank you very much.
I just would, first of all, Mayor, Council, thank you very much. I would like to, first of all, thank you for the amendment to the initial resolution that I was here to speak for. And I'm glad to see that you've decided to put the consideration of a ring road, a loop road, up to the community for more involvement from the community. I would just like to remind Council, this is for me a very important thing. You campaigned, all of you, on a platform of trying to reach agreement and consensus. You wanted to be constructive. You felt you were very critical of the polarization that had occurred in our community prior to your coming in. It seems to me that what I have observed in the past few weeks has been quite contrary to working towards a constructive solution for our entire community. I just would like Council to please, and Mayor, to please remember that we're working for constructive solutions and not vindictive solutions. Thank you very much, because it seems to me that what I'm seeing a lot of these days is not necessarily based on best advice. And it is very insulting to people on the island who may have expressed opinions in the past that are just being completely disregarded. There.
Next speaker is Andre Chollat.
Thank you. Your Worship and Councillors, I have difficulty to believe that Councillor Rhodes is serious regarding David Lynch concept scheme Z for Snug Cove ferry marshalling, recommending that it is to be the Council's desired solution in the ongoing planning and implementation of Snug Cove development. I think that neither David Lynch nor Tim Rhodes have ever driven an 18-wheeler 60 feet long or more. Have they even watched any of those logging trucks that navigate our roads at any time of the year, as they are doing right now with the log stripping of Cape Roger Curtis? Such trucks require 50 feet clearance minimum to negotiate the turn on the road. Highways and freeways have 3 or 4 times that space or more. How, in your wildest dream, can you imagine a truck of that size and length in the 6 right-angled turns where the 4 lanes considered may not even provide sufficient clearance for it to go? What kind of traffic fluency are you expecting out of this? When you mention that David Lynch concept is a pragmatic, affordable solution that identifies funding potential, I would recommend that such a ill-prepared concept pass the test of the Ministry of Highways Planning Department before being presented to the community with fanfare as you are doing at the present time. I do not need to say more regarding how I think of it, but it lacks professionalism. Much better solutions were presented earlier on in the parameters of trunk road limitation that had great artistic potential at minimum expense to roll. I hope that, Mayor and Councillors, you may come to your senses before committing yourself to be the laughingstock of the nation with your road engineering competence. Sincerely yours. Thank you.
Next speaker is Anne.
Mayor and Council, I'm hemmed in at the moment by tree burden men, so I'm going to speak from here. And I'm also going to reduce the length of my presentation, but I'm passing on the full presentation to you. There's a number of questions that I'd really appreciate to have answered by Mayor and Council and staff. Basically consists of 6 questions. I must say that the letter I wrote was based on the original proposal by Mr. Rhodes, so there's some things that have changed, but I'm still, my major concerns still exist. I'm dismayed that the council is considering Mr. Rhodes' proposal at the moment for a number of reasons, most of them being that I haven't seen a due process of thought going through here. Several questions are come to mind. Why is council looking at a proposal that, why is council rejecting the 2-year professional-led review of ferry marshalling led by James Tour? That's a process that was done. I'm especially interested in learning what council considers the major faults of that report. Secondly, it's being addressed, but I mentioned why is council not having a public process. Thank you for doing that. And why would council choose a proposal that was done by a non-professional? I must point out that Ross Carter is a hero of mine. I love his paintings. Ross was a deep thinker about community, but Ross was not a planner. And David Lynch, who I really like, is not a planner, and he hasn't gone through the process of planning. And so I'm confused as to why you would be thinking of that as the only process. Thank you, you've changed your mind. You're going to look at several others. but I'm wondering, are you going to be looking at some criteria such as what specific problems does the ferry marshalling address? And how does it address those problems? And why is it better than the other proposed processes? What's the effect on the natural environment? There's two issues here. There's runoff into Killarney Creek and the lagoon, salmon spawning habitat that is protected by law by federal fisheries, and I hate to see the community having to pay a bunch of fines and costs for fixing that up. Federal Fisheries and Oceans doesn't play games.
Thank you. Thanks.
No, I'm continuing on. Sorry, other people spoke too.
That's right, we got other people waiting behind you. We're over time, so if you could just leave.
I'm going to give you
filing that letter. File the letter.
And okay, Mr. Mayor, I hope to get a letter in response from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
A detailed letter.
The next speaker is David Hill.
Worshipful Mayor and Honourable Councillors, thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak. You probably all know already that I'm an advocate of a different solution than the Z plan. In fact, I have previously sent documents to the attention of Council for the record, so I can speak fairly briefly. Council knows, or should know, that there is a valid proposal for ferry marshalling to be moved to the south side, freeing up Snug Cove for the revitalisation without ruining the North Park or clogging the village. It uses mainly derelict land, by the way, and there's a sewage works there. Council knows, or should know, that BC Ferries have indicated, despite the recent financial squeeze, and I have this in writing, that they can handle the financing and carrying costs of implementing the south side option with long-term cost recovery at a very modest rate. Council knows, or should know, that more than half the island voters were strongly against relinquishing the North Park to Parks Canada. Council knows, or should know, that the area around the cove, including the south side of the Snug Cove Inlet, were identified in the original formation of Crippen Park as usable for community purposes. Now that's lapsed, but that can be resurrected. Council knows, or should know, that continuing plans for ferry marshalling development that involves the North Park and access through the village will seriously compromise any attempt to make the village a more inviting place, apart from the problems that some previous speakers have mentioned, which I fully support. We need a common sense rather than ideology. The council members I spoke to during the election and to previous councils all agreed that the south side was the best long-term solution. Why mess about? Let's do it. And then finally, if you can't countenance the south side right now, don't waste resources on a North Park proposal. And I have some, this is a printed version. The email version I sent you had active links in it so that you could actually access the correspondence that's mentioned in there.
Thank you.